Hello there, I'm Jadwiga James. I'm a homeopath at the Complementary Medicine Clinic and at Acorn Natural Health Center in Hiner. Today I want to share with you my top 7 homeopathic remedies for the management of hay fever symptoms, because as I'm recording this video, we have now entered a season of high pollen count. So let's begin. Now, before we go any further, I just want to tell you a little bit about homeopathy, just in case you've never used homeopathic remedies before. So the way homeopathic remedies are made means that they are completely non-toxic. That also ties with the fact that there are completely no contraindications from taking them. So if you are having other health problems as well as hay fever and are currently taking medications for it, you are completely safe to take homeopathic remedies alongside any of your prescribed medicine. Now, there are no side effects for homeopathic remedies, so they won't cause any problems like drowsiness or sleepiness or any other unpleasant symptoms antihistamines have a tendency to cause. But the only we can say difficulty in getting homeopathic remedies is the fact that they are chosen upon symptom similarity. So that's a little bit of work on your part now, as we're going to go through the videos and I'm going to be describing each of the most commonly prescribed homeopathic remedies for symptoms of hay fever. You will be able to see if any of their symptomatic pictures matches with what you are experiencing, because that's how we're going to know if that is going to be the correct remedy for you. Now, the remedy number 1 is Allium SIPA, which I think is the most often mentioned remedy for hay fever because it's got such a classic example of hay fever symptoms. Because when you think about hay fever, you think about people which are sneezing 20 times in a row, whose eyes are absolutely burning, stinging, and they want to keep rubbing their eyes, and there's a lot of tears coming out and their nose is running and they just feel really anxious and miserable with it. So that's part of Allium SIPA picture, definitely. So whilst I have to mention, whilst the tears that come out so profusely are quite bland, it means they're coming out and they're not irritating anything anymore, whilst the discharge they get from the nose is quite accurate. It means it's really irritating. It can irritate all the area under the nose, and it can make the top lip sore and red as well, which is quite characteristic to Allium SIPA. So a lot of tears, a lot of discharge from nose, but tears are non-irritating, but the discharge from nose, even though it looks like water, it really burns. So there are conditions in homeopathic remedies which, well, we can say your conditions to be okay. So what helps you in certain situation, that will be also characteristic to a certain remedy. So with Allium SIPA, as we can say, I've put that they are worse in an evening and in the warm room. That could also extend to if you are out and about and you get in the car that's warm and you start sneezing and your eyes are going and you think, wait a minute, I've been outside, there's a lot of pollen out there, but not necessarily, in the car. But yes, when you are in a situation like that, actually, and you represent a picture of Allium SIPA, then you would feel better being out in the fresh air, because you'd think it would help to blow the things that are irritating your eyes and your nose away. The remedy number 2 is ambrosia. So in ambrosia, I think all of the remedies will have some symptoms relating to eyes and the nose, but their conditions to be okay and the exact way the symptoms are expressed in these areas of the body will differ, and that's how we will choose which of the remedies would be most suitable for your symptoms. So with ambrosia, we also have a lot of sneezing and a lot of irritation, but with that the nose tends to actually, the whole area here looks red and it looks swollen. There's a lot of discharge coming from the nose, which is also acrid, just like in our remedy number 1, which was Allium SIPA. But even though the nose is really runny and the discharge is really watery, it can really feel congested at the root of the nose, and the whole head, the whole sinus area can feel really stuffed up, and you can get a headache with it. Now in ambrosia, you can sneeze so violently that it could actually cause a nosebleed. So if you're suffering with hay fever and you sneeze to the point that your nose starts bleeding and all the other symptoms also agree, it might be the remedy for you. Now, there's a very easy way of finding out whether you would be better off with ambrosia or Allium SIPA, because their conditions to be okay are exact opposite to each other. You see, in ambrosia you feel worse outdoors. You absolutely cannot step outside for 5 minutes before you start feeling really, really congested, really stuffy, and your nose starts to run and your eyes are irritating as well, whilst you will feel a lot more relief if you hide yourself inside at home, preferably with closed windows. Now our remedy number 3 is Ars Alb, which has also very profuse tears and discharge from nose, but both of them are really, really irritating and burning. I think the main point about this remedy is the burning sensation. So it can be in the eyes, it can be in the nose can be blocked, as well as in the previous remedy ambrosia, but the very prominent symptom of Ars Alb is that internally you're going to feel really, really chilly. So even though it might be over 30 degrees outside, if you experience hay fever symptoms which would reflect remedy Ars Alb, then most likely you will feel actually quite cold and would want nothing more than to just hide inside with maybe a warm blanket. The remedy number 4 is Ars Iodatum, or Ars Iod. Here we've got a lot of sneezing. There's also very acrid discharge coming from the nose. So again, we've got this irritation of the upper lip, as well as inside the actual nasal passages. Now, the discharge from the nose can be very watery to start off with, but if you're suffering with hay fever over a longer period of time, it can actually turn more yellowish green and become thicker over time, which is quite characteristic of this remedy. Another thing which is quite peculiar is that because of all this congestion and your nose constantly running, there's a lot of postnasal drip. So partially the mucus you're overproducing goes down your throat, and because it's so acrid, because it's so burning, it can cause a lot of coarseness, loss of voice, and as well pain in throat. Now, as all other remedies from the Ars group, you can feel quite chilly, but in this instant you will actually be feeling worse for any type of heat because of the degree that the burning you are experiencing internally. So in contrast to Ars Alb we've discussed previously, Ars Iodatum is actually feeling worse indoors, in warmth, but better out in the open air. They crave that freshness to help their symptoms. The remedy number 5 is Arundo. It also has a lot of sneezing and watery discharge from the nose, but in contrast to so many remedies we've discussed previously, it's very bland and non-irritating. Now, sneezing is not the main theme here. Actually, it may be present, it may not be. It's not a necessity. What is a necessity if you need this remedy is the itchiness. So inside your nose is extremely itchy. The roof of your mouth, that's quite peculiar, is constantly really, really itchy. You might want to try to itch the roof of your mouth with your tongue, and the itchiness can extend as far as to a feeling of an itchy head. So if a child suffers with hay fever and needs Arundo as a remedy, the parents might be looking in first instance if there are any head lice involved because of the itchiness and extreme irritation, because yes, the person displaying the picture of Arundo can get very irritable with the constant itchiness because they simply don't know whether to focus on the roof of their mouth, or itching their nose, or just scratching their head. The remedy number 6 is Euphrasia, which in itself is a very, very big eye remedy. So in terms of hay fever, there might be some discharge from the nose. If so, it will be very watery and runny, but completely non-irritating, so that's not going to be a bother. What is going to be a bother is very stinging, very irritated eyes. It might end up as conjunctivitis, so there's going to be redness, the eyes might be bloodshot, and the tears that are going to be produced as a result of the hay fever are going to be very burning and quite characteristically for this remedy, they will be leaving a bleached mark as they run down the face. And the last but not least remedy we're going to be discussing today is Sabadilla, and I think each one of us might know a person who would benefit from this remedy. Basically, when it comes to symptoms, they have a bit of everything going on there. There's a lot of burning, there's a lot of congestion. These people can suffer from sinusitis, absolutely bursting headaches from, as mentioned, congestion and the constant sneezing. But the main peculiar thing, which is really characteristic for this remedy, is that people get really, really triggered by smells. So it can be smell of a freshly mowed lawn. That is gonna get them into a fit of symptoms of hay fever, as well as smell of flowers. So things that other people might find, as smells of spring that reminds them of summertime, or even more cooking type of smells. I know people who benefit from Sabadilla can be also quite sensitive to smell of garlic and onions, so it's really not a pleasant place to be when it comes to being triggered by everything of a quite a peculiar smell. Now, if you found in this video a remedy which matches your symptoms of hay fever, then that's absolutely fantastic. I definitely recommend that you give homeopathy a go. Now, if you never tried homeopathic remedies before, you can buy them from a homeopathic pharmacy, or simply have a look online. A lot of online marketing places sell homeopathic remedies, or you could also check your local natural health food store. They should be able to help you get one in. In terms of potencies, because homeopathic remedies can come in a whole range of potencies, I would recommend either a 12C, 15C, or a 30C. You definitely don't need to go any higher than that to manage the symptoms of hay fever. When it comes to repetition and dosage, we take homeopathic remedies as just one granule equaling one dose. So for such problems, if you are acutely suffering from the symptoms of hay fever, I would recommend that you take up to 3 doses, which is 3 granules, of the chosen remedy within 24-hour period, and then watch and wait how you are feeling. Now, if your symptoms start improving, try reducing the dose to 2 doses, 2 granules within 24-hour period, ideally later just needing 1 or not even needing a dose every day. If, however, you feel no different after taking 3 doses of a chosen remedy within 24-hour period, then there's a good chance that this is not the correct remedy for you. So I'd invite you to rewatch the video, have a look at all the remedies again, to make sure that the remedy you've chosen was the correct one indeed, or if there's another one quite similar to it that you could try instead. Obviously, I couldn't include all of the remedies in this video. Like I've mentioned before, there's over 200 of them, and that's just to manage the acute manifestations of the hay fever. So choosing any of these remedies won't cure you from suffering from hay fever, but it may help to manage the symptoms. If you would like to address the root cause, the vulnerability of why your body ended up suffering with hay fever in the first place, because not everybody does, then I'd definitely recommend treatment with a licensed homeopath. Now, I hope you found this video useful. If you've got any questions, feel free to get in touch.